It's Thursday. It's time for that little look ahead to the weekend games. Not a huge amount to talk about, really. I want to start quickly just touching on the Champions League game last night between Real Madrid and Man City. Thought it was a very, very good high-level game. Quite enjoyed watching that one, to be honest. We know the talk about Xabi Alonso before the game at Real Madrid, that if he loses, he might be done. There's not a lot of players that are liking what he's doing. They're not backing him. They do lose the game, and obviously then the players kind of come out, Bellingham, stuff like that, do come out and they back the manager and say that they're enjoying it. You know, I can imagine Alonso's along that Pep Guardiola-esque style of coaching when it sounds like he is, about he's very particular and wants players being in certain positions and things like that, especially him being a holding midfielder, a centre midfielder, so to speak, in his day. You know, being able to see the whole game and scope it all out, I can totally get that. Quite amazing, isn't it? Real Madrid's just a weird club. It's that pinnacle kind of football. It gets talked about all the time that any player or manager would want to go to have a chance to be play in front of that fans and that crowd. But it's political and it's quite toxic, isn't it? And there's times where I think, you know, I don't know, would I want to go there if I ever played or managed? Like, I mean, easier said than done when you're not in that situation. But it's a really interesting club. But I thought Real Madrid looked really good. I think Rudiger coming back's massive for them. You can see he's always up for the battle and things like that. They look quick on the counter as always, Vinicius and stuff. I know Mbappe had a little injury, so he wasn't playing last night. But, you know, when you're dealing with a lot of superstars, there's just a lot more that comes with it than just coaching a football team. And Alonso's going to find that out very early on in his career. But like, you don't stay at Real Madrid for long. He's going to eventually move on and come to someone else, and it'll be a really good learning period for him. So I'm really excited to see where Alonso does and ends up. I think he'll be one of the top coaches in the future, absolutely. I think he'll be one of those top guys. Everyone speaks very, very highly of him. So, real top quality game. It's a huge win for that Man City side, who are very, very quickly making a lot of big steps for me in just this kind of last 10 days or so with all of these games. I still think they're a bit too chaotic and everything like that to win a league title. I think in the Champions League, obviously, it's a little bit different. You can maybe be chaotic and get through knockout games. If you can just score a lot of goals, it'll really help you, which they have with the big man up top and Foden and Sherky, and all those guys are starting to hit a bit of form and chip in and find their feet, and certainly in Sherky in that team. So it's not solely just reliant on the big man, who was really up for it last night. He enjoyed the battle against all the Madrid defenders. It was good to watch that. So, you know, you can see Pep Linders gets up. I think it might be the first or the second goal, and he's celebrating like he's such a huge component of that. I can see his fingerprint and his hallmarks all over this Man City side from him being at Liverpool. I really can. So I'm really intrigued to see where City are at. And they've got Palace away at the weekend. It is away, right? At Selhurst Park. And not an easy one. Palace are up there in the mix, defensively very solid. You know, won't give up a lot of chances. Haaland will have another battle on his hands, and they'll maybe have to find space elsewhere. You know, Palace are a team that will probably take a point there at home as well at Selhurst Park. I'm not saying that as like a diss. I think that, you know, they understand the games. Glasner is very good at that, and to when to kind of take points and when to not take points. He's that type of manager. Looking forward to that. That's a big game on Sunday, and depending on how they get on there, you would expect Arsenal to comfortably beat Wolves on Saturday night at home. It's another convincing victory for them away in the Champions League. Jesus is back. Madueke scores a great goal. You know, things like that. Martinelli gets another goal, so they're just kind of ticking over. A little break from the English games after that defeat to Villa. Get a little break from that narrative, that media, and they go into Europe and they win it, and they'll be a force and a threat in Europe, absolutely. And you expect them to get the 3 points, as I said. So City have got a big test to kind of stay on their shoulders and just stay right behind them there away at Palace, which will be a game that we'll predict in my weekend predictions that will be up tomorrow, Friday. Look, the big game is Sunderland and Newcastle at the weekend. The derby. It's been a long time since we've had one in the Premier League, 2016 as of that, and it's an exciting one. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm excited for it because it's just a great city. I was down in Hexham at the weekend actually, and I just love the vibe. I love the Geordie. You know, I love everyone. They're a good bunch. They're good people. It's a good city, working class city, and it's a big game, and it's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be an interesting one. Sunderland have been really, really good. If we're just taking a look at the stats here, some interesting ones on BBC, I'll just kind of go through them. You know, at the moment, we know Sunderland sit 9th, Newcastle are 12th, Sunderland on 23 points, Newcastle on 22 points. So they're very close to each other. Sunderland scored 18 goals, Newcastle 21. And the stats are, really, really interesting. It's very similar. 17 goals conceded for Sunderland, 19 for Newcastle. You can see the rest there with shots on target, block shots, passing percent accuracy. Not going to dive into them. You can see them on screen if you're watching. Points dropped from a winning position. Interestingly, Sunderland have only dropped 4. Newcastle have dropped 11 this season. Not great at all. Not great. We can see the form that they're both coming into. Sunderland, 2 losses, a win and 2 draws recently, although they have had Arsenal, Liverpool and Man City in that mix. Beating Bournemouth, obviously we know being 2-0 down, a 1-0 defeat to Fulham will be a bit of a rough one for them, but you'd expect that to happen to Sunderland this season. Newcastle, form's picked up ever so slightly in the league. It's 3 wins in the last 5. A loss to Marseille in the Champions League and a draw against Spurs as well, 2-2, which is a disappointing one. They would have wanted to get 3 points on there. Previous meetings, 121 games between them. Sunderland have won 40, Newcastle have won 45. There's been 36 draws. And in previous scores, the last 3 times they played each other, Newcastle beat them in the FA Cup in Jan 2024 at Sunderland 3-0. And in the Premier League, it was a 1-1 draw at St James's, and Sunderland in 2015 of October beat them 3-0. So, yeah, I'm buzzing for it. As I say, I'm absolutely buzzing for it. It'll be one of my predictions I will do at the end of this video. It'll be intriguing. It will be very, very intriguing to see how Sunderland can kind of handle it, and Newcastle, who are going to be a solid, gritty team. We know what they're like there against a Sunderland team that are the same and have pace. They're both really similar, aren't they? They are both really, really similar. So, going to be a hell of a game. If you just run through some match facts about it, Sunderland are unbeaten in the last 9 league games against Newcastle, winning 6 and drawing 3. With this, the first such Tyne-Wear derby since a 1-1 draw at St James's Park, which we just talked about. Newcastle have lost their last 3 away league games against Sunderland. Interesting. More than they had in their previous 21 visits combined, winning 6, drawing 13 and losing 2. They've never lost 4 in a row at the Mackems before. So Sunderland with a chance to create history against their rivals. Sunderland's current run of 9 without defeat is their longest run ever unbeaten league run against Newcastle. 1-6, drawn 3. However, they lost the most recent derby in all competitions, as we said, losing 3-0. And then a very, very intriguing stat here in terms of the league. Along with Arsenal, Sunderland, one of the 2 teams still unbeaten at home in the Premier League this season, winning 4 and drawing 3. Indeed, the Black Cats have more points at the Stadium of Light this term, 15, than they managed in the whole of their last campaign in the top flight, which was 14 points in 2016-17. So you've got to say the stats are kind of back in Sunderland here in this derby game and form and everything like that. Newcastle's form's probably a little bit better with a few more wins in there. So going to be a hell of a game. That'll be one of my predictions I'll do. Just quickly elsewhere across the league, you've got Chelsea and Everton. Chelsea, who everyone's kind of like, yeah, there we go. Chelsea, we knew they weren't going to be consistent. I was one of the ones that said it. They always do this. It's at home to Everton. They need to get a win. I've got a little funny feeling that might be a bit of a tough one for Chelsea there. I think this kind of run of form might continue. They lose in the week, don't they, to Atalanta as well in Europe. So they're just starting to go on that bad run of form again. I bet you they dip down, and come the end of the season, they'll be battling for that 4th and 5th spot. I don't doubt it with the squad that they've got. But it's a tough one there against David Moyes' Everton. Liverpool and Brighton. It's a solid team performance on Liverpool in the week. 1-0. It was huge for Arne Slot to get that and for the players to show that they were behind him. And it's a home game of Brighton. They'll obviously be the Salah narrative, which I'm getting a little bit tired of now. I've had enough of it. We're good. Let's just get to the next game and move the story on, to be honest. So it's a big one there for Liverpool. See what team gets put out there and everything like that. Monday night, Man United play Bournemouth. Good win for United away at Wolves, 4-1, just when things were a little bit down and doom and gloom again for them with Amarin. It was a good fixture to have. I watched a little bit of that game. I turned it off when it went 2-0 or 1-0, sorry, just because I didn't want to watch that. I knew Man United would eventually just absolutely hump Wolves, who are just in a world of trouble. They're going down, aren't they? So that's a decent Monday night football game, United and Bournemouth. Scotland, there's not a lot to dive into in terms of league games, to be honest. Obviously, Hearts need to keep it going away against Falkirk. Rangers and Danny Rowell want to keep things going. Celtic and Rangers playing tonight in Europe as well, obviously. So they'll have to deal with that coming back again from another European game. But it's Celtic in the cup final. It's Wilfried Nancy, a chance to get his first win in there. It's a game that Celtic will be expected to win, even though it's a cup final, and they need to get things up and running with them there. So that's really it for this one, to be honest. A quick kind of short one. Weekend predictions will be a separate video. That'll be up tomorrow. Just going through some of the games, maybe dive into them a little bit more as to why I think the results will be the results. But that'll do us for this one, guys. That will absolutely do us for this one. Hope everyone has a kind of good end to the week. It's Thursday. Enjoy it. You're almost there. It's almost the weekend. Enjoy your weekend watching all the football or whatever you're up to. Drop your thoughts, comments below in the video, as always. Road to 500, trying to get this YouTube channel there. We're on 254. I'm really trying to just stay consistent with this and get you guys up for this and create a community feeling here, right? I know that's kind of like the whole point of this, and it's a buzzword, but it's what I'm trying to do. So like and subscribe, that'd be amazing. Comment, get some interaction going. And as always, until the next one, have a good one. Peace.